The most dangerous and legendary vehicle of all of World of Tanks PC history is coming to World of Tanks Blitz. That being the one, the only Deathwaffe, die Waffenträger aus E-100. So, this is coming into the Blitz game. And if you are anything like us, Klaus and me, myself, Hans, you are excited for it or you can't wait to get your hands on it. However, once you do get your hands on it, how do you intend to play it? Well, in this video, Klaus and I are going to show you how you're supposed to play the Waffenträger aus E-100 in World of Tanks Blitz setting so that you can get out more wins, do more damage, die less, and deal the enemy's death in this legendary machine. Let's get right into it. First things first, let's look at the Waffle's armor. As you can see here in the name, it is based off of the E-100 hull. Oh, Entschuldigung, that is a work client thing. Wir click that button und we'll talk about that later. As you can see, this is based off of the E-100 hull, which means it should have the E-100 profile, right? Well, no. It has no side skirts, the side armor is very poor, and even the frontal armor is not the best. As you can see, there's a central bar on the upper plate that you can easily penetrate due to its very, very poor armor profiling. But if you angle it just a little bit, it becomes quite strong. So, armor on the whole, mediocre at best. Giant lower plate, upper plate, it can be blocked by this vehicle, but as soon as you run calibrated shells, even standard can go through certain parts of the front plate. Upper plate, on you load premium, yeah, there's no chance you're going to bounce this unless you hit that tiny little bar, right? Actually, no, you'll just pin this thing everywhere. Like that is a weak spot. So, the third, no armor whatsoever anywhere. The most effective armor you're gonna get out of this thing is against HE because due to the angles on the turret, as you can see, it's very bad angled. It's going to be quite a tricky penetration. However, there are certain spots you can HE. The lower turret cheeks, this door thing on the left side, the gun mounting on the roof, and the gunner's sight. All of those are HE pens from the front of the turret, and they work no matter what angle you're at. Unless you're at like a really wacky angle like this, in which case you just have, the entire side of the Waffle's turret to shoot anyway. So be very, very careful about HE. But yeah, vehicles, armor, mediocre at best, nothing special. Like we can run enhanced armor, go back to our standard shells, loading standard while running calibrated. The upper plate is still penetration in some areas, so yeah, the armor, while not bad, is not great. Really what you want to do with this, stick the front out. The front of the hull, just stick it out, wiggle it a lot, or you can wiggle it like side to side like this. The minute you get into a face hug, so, yeah, no, you're dead. This vehicle, as you can see, is also quite large. If it looks small, that's because we are in Blitzkit. This is based off the E-100. So even if that hole looks rather tiny, please note that it's still bigger than most mediums, which means that turret is about as big, if not bigger, than the turret of the E-100 in regard to sheer square footage. Yeah, kind of impressive. By the way, has no rear armor. You can HE it quite literally everywhere. Like everything back here is an HE pin. There's literally no armor. So keep that in mind. Don't let people get off to your ear. So, with the armor out of the way, let us check out the gun statistics and other characteristics. For this, we are going to be running calibrated shells, enhanced gunning drive, refined gun, improved assembly, defense system, toolbox, engine accelerator, camouflage net, and high-end consumables. Double food and fuel, and for consumables, just repair kits and a single engine power boost. Crew skills are normal, and we're not running epic boosters. So, let's start with the gun, the main characteristic of the vehicle. Running calibrated shells, you have 2847 DPM with the standard. You get a 3-shell autoloader, dealing 570 damage per shot for a clipping potential of 1710 in one single clip. You have 292 millimeters of standard penetration versus 3.53-second intro clip for each shell in the clip on the 28.98-second reload, basically 29-second reload for the entirety of the clip after you dump. Since it's not an auto reloader, here you have a long reload in front of you, plus a long dumping time. The module damage is 203, no one cares. It's a 128 millimeter that does 570 damage per shot. Yes, it does not make sense, no one cares. So, show velocity is average, but not the best. You have an aiming time of 2.02 seconds with dispersion of 0.300. So very good aim time on dispersion, despite the vehicle caliber, size, and, well, it's factors. It's a waffle. It's a death waffle. On movement dispersion is about 0.467, which is not that bad. I mean, it's not that bad. It's not saying wonderful, but it's not terrible. Yeah. So overall, nothing too bad. Gun depression is 8 degrees in certain spots. It's only 6 degrees over the very front of the vehicle. We can show you here. Like this is our computer's lagging. It's only about 6 degrees over the front, like right around here, which is not great. However, it does allow you to use that frontal armor. Over the sides, you get 8 degrees of gun depression because you can actually fit your gun over the front of the vehicle. Because why would you stick the turret in the back? That does not make much sense, but fine. Let's say you just get it like this. All of a sudden, boom, boom, badoom. You're now hiding your weak spots for the most part. Like, yes, you can do HE that, on that, on that if you can hit it, but those are very hard penetrations, and everything else is not a pen. Wiggle back and forth, yeah, can make people's life a nightmare. So just a little bit of advice. So basic gun depression back out of the way. I'd very much like to go back down the page. Thank you very much. So basic gun stats out of the way. Let's check the mobility. 38 kilometers per hour forwards, 12 in reverse. Very bad reverse speed. On the forwards mobility is nothing to write home about. It's 38. No one really cares. Engine power is decent. Power to weight ratio is about 17.7 on hard terrain, 17.6 on medium, or 11.8 on soft. So, turret traverse is 18.2 degrees a second. That is very sad. Whole traverse speed 40 degrees per second on hard terrain, 31.4 on medium, on 27.2 on soft terrain. Not the most mobile vehicle. Terrain coefficients are decent. Raw terrain coefficients are decent. But other than that, yeah. You have 1900 on 24 hit points, which is, for a tank destroyer at tier 10, quite a lot. That's just shy of the Jagdpanzer E-100. Fire chance, no one cares. View range, 253, no one cares. It's a tank destroyer. Camouflage, 7.25 while sitting still. That is literally the worst in tier 10. We are running CamoNet. On this thing has the worst camouflage we have ever seen on any tank destroyer since our introduction to this game. That is quite literally terrible. Yeah. On the move, it's 3.65%. While sitting still and shooting the gun, it is 1.63%. And shooting on the move is 0.82% camouflage. What this means is that running camouflage net, with all the buffs they added to tank destroyers in the most recent equipment changes. The Waffenträger aus E-100 is the worst camouflage tank destroyer at tier 10. Not good for you if you plan on camping in the back in a bush, which, as we will show, is probably not the best playstyle for this tank. The best playstyle we can think of is a frontline support vehicle. Bait people with your upper plate, wait for them to bounce you, pull out, dump your 1700 damage clip, and pull back. That's all that we can say. So that's the statistics no one cares about, because, yeah, no one cares about that. And look at that beautiful zoom up. Let's see if we can zoom out. No, okay. So yeah, that is the Waffenträger statistics. Let's take a look at these different gameplay styles that you can manage with this tank. So we are on Fort Speer and we're going to be showcasing the tactics of the Waffenträger of the E-100. To do so, I will be using two vehicles, because I don't have the best vehicle in the game currently to describe it. The T-28 Defender. So, we are going to be using the T-28 prototype for its mostly turreted design, relatively decent top speed, and that's about as far as the turret goes. Mostly decent top speed, although it is kind of on the slow side, even compared to the Waffenträger, and quick reload. For the auto-loading mechanic, we are going to jump in the Pharaoh, which is a Tier 7 Blitz Nation collector heavy tank. Oh, by the way, this is an American Tech 3 tank destroyer. So, for the Waffenträger, you don't have much frontal gun depression. If you're going to use your gun depression, which is 8 degrees, you're going to come up in an angle a bit like this. And because you have a turret, that will make it quite easy for you. However, because your turret is also rear mounted, this can become a bit of an issue at times. So you want to come up a bit like this. You see? Take a shot and then get the turret out of there, because your turret is your biggest weak spot. But also the turret on the Waffenträger is rather large, so you will have to be careful about that. But you just poke up, take a shot, and get out of there. When it comes to driving with your turret, excuse me, this thing is rather slow. Can you side scrape? No, you cannot side scrape. So what you want to do is, if you're going to have to use the hull armor at any point, you mainly want to come at it like a frontally, but at an angle. So sort of like this. Let's pretend that this is the frontal angle near your turret. You want to stick it out like this. And then let's get our turret over here. Nine 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 nine. Blasted vehicle. This thing will take forever if you let it. Alright, so stick your front of your hull out. Wiggle a lot because you have that weak lower plate. If you can't hide the lower plate, like along this rubble here, see this rubble kind of hides the lower, you can't really see it, but the rubble hides the lower plate a little bit, but shows the upper plate. Once then keeps the turret back until you're ready to fire. Then you pull out. Excuse me. You pull out and shoot. And that is the basics of the flat ground and hull down positions. Now remember, you only have about 6 degrees of frontal gun depression, so it's not good when you can't use it all that well. But 8 degrees over the side, like we said, you just come up at an angle, use the gun depression, and boom, you're golden. So that is the T-28 example of the gameplay and basic mechanics of the Waffenträger in regards to mobility, movement, and positioning. Now let's take a look at the auto-loading mechanic. Und wir on Kanal. I say every time we are trying to record a training room video, we get Kanal. Like, we have it set to a random map, but I don't know. You get my point. It's just strange sometimes. So, the reason we picked the Pharaoh was because of this autoloader. Also, the mobility is more similar to that of the Waffenträger. The Waffenträger is a bit slower because it is a super heavy. So, the reload on interclip was 3 shells. Similar, but the interclip on the Waffenträger is about a second longer, which you will have to be careful about. And the reload is a lot better on this vehicle, as it is only 17 seconds as opposed to like 27. Significant difference, which is something you have to keep in mind. However, once you get this thing to kick off, you just fire a shell, fire a shell, fire a shell, dump the clip, pull back into cover. Let's pretend this is hard cover. You want to pull back into cover. If you can angle out your front, but I wouldn't recommend that. Just hide your entire hole. Try and go unspotted while you're in the Waffenträger. If you're reloading your clip, go to unspotted as much as you can, because the minute you are spotted, you can become instant target for anybody with a brain cell. especially high caliber HE vehicles. If there's enemies in the situation and you need to get out, leave instantly. Don't even stay. Don't. You're going to die if you stay. So you're going to leave in the situation. And the Waffenträger is also quite tall, just like the Pharaoh. It is mostly turreted, like the Pharaoh. Also, there are lots of differences and there are lots of similarities between the two. But yeah, you can just dump your clip. Look at that. 3 great shots. And yeah, that's a very simple play style. Just dump your clip into the enemy and back into cover. Especially if you can get out behind the enemy, like in this situation, we're going to load our HE. The Waffenträger can do 2400 damage with the HE. So, yeah, if you can get around behind people, which we recommend that you do, then you're going to do a lot of damage very quickly. And there's not a lot that can be done to counter you. Because, like we said, 2400 damage with CHE is enough to take out most tier 10 mediums. And even some of the heavies, like the Object 260, the Chieftain Mark 6, the various different vehicles, as you all know. So, that's the short version of things. And we will be back for the finished up of the pre-release guide.